Transcending the mind. Transcend the mind and peace will follow. That's kind of the theme we're going to go with today. So I want to welcome everyone. It's Christmas time, it's December. So I appreciate y'all being here. This is a beautiful time of year, whatever you may celebrate. And so thank you for joining in. We have people from all over the world. I often have I see a few more people popping on. Welcome. Thank you. I know that a lot of people couldn't make it live today. And so one thing I do want to let you know is whether you are watching this live or at some point in the future, it doesn't matter. As long as you watch it or listen to it the whole way through, you will benefit from it. That's how the quantum field works. And so welcome and thank you for joining us today. Thank you for showing up in a big way for yourself, because that's what this is about, is that inner work. It's an inside job, right? Some of you have been with me for a while and y'all really know how I feel about that. Everything's an inside job. So whatever you celebrate this time of year, some parts of the world, I have people in the southern hemisphere where they have springtime right now, but because it's December, a lot of people do celebrate certain December holidays, winter holidays, Christmas, different things like that. And so enjoy it. It's a time of beauty, it's a time of love, it's a time of introspection, reminiscing throughout the year because it is coming to the year end, wondering what the new year is going to bring for us, because we won't meet again until the new year. And I've noticed lately, a lot of people, of course, in December, we're remembering what went on this year. We're watching our children and grandchildren grow and going back over those memories, and it's kind of fun. But a lot of that brings us to wondering who we truly are. And I've seen this question and this theme come up recently in different groups I am a part of, and bind groups, and thinking through those existential questions. And each time I jump on for these sessions, I don't know what we're going to discuss until it comes in. The way I do this is I feel into the group energy, and my intention is there even for people I don't know, people who aren't clients or whatnot. Anyone who will watch this in the future, this is good for everyone. And it works. There's power in numbers. The quantum field, now that we have quantum sciences showing us, proving to us that, and it's like prayer. If you're in Timbuktu and I'm in America, we can still affect change because it's an inside job. So some of what we're going to cover today really goes to those inner questions, those existential questions. Who am I? Why am I here? What is my purpose? Do I even exist? Does it matter? Is there a creator? What else is really out there in the universe? And so some of these questions we're going to look at from a different perspective. I'm part of a group that this morning was, someone posed the question, what if there were two forces fighting for control of the earth, and both were, what was the question? Going to basically both are in control, okay, and keep us enslaved. And I've been considering that for a long time. I was tickled to see that question come up because it's something that's really been on my mind. Now, over many, many, many years, I've thought through this, because sometimes it does look like that, whether it's in our own personal lives with a relationship, whether it's with coworkers or our career. Where are we going? Where are we headed? What are we doing? Am I enjoying my work? What's my purpose? Or if it's something, on a lot of people's minds, the way the world is going these days, and politics and things like that. And in the last few years, I've heard the terms white hats, black hats being thrown around. I know that those terms have been around a lot longer, because when I learned about the history of that, I thought that was a new term. Apparently not, and I'm behind the game, but oh well, c'est la vie, right? So it kind of makes me wonder, though, is it external or is it still an inside job? And we all have to go within to find the peace, even amongst the chaos. There's chaos all around. We're human. We're here having a life on this earth. There's that duality, right? There's night and day, black and white, right and wrong. We got to let the right and wrong game wind down, because really it's a matter of remembering to have that bit of compassion and not judge others, not judge ourselves, because that's where it starts, is inside with the self. And if we can give up some of that playing one side or the other, or thinking one side is right and the other side is wrong, or one side is good and the other side is bad, angel devil on the shoulder or in our ears, right? Whether it's an argument within a relationship, a disagreement on how you're going to keep the books in the company or whatever, it doesn't matter. But it really goes along to looking at those bigger questions. And so we have to remember there's always duality. That's just how the universe operates, right? Before I get into a lot of that, I do want to remind everyone, listen, start to finish, tap along, play along, have a glass of water with you. Staying hydrated really helps. And try to be where you won't be disturbed for the duration of the recording. It's going to be less than an hour. I try to keep it at an hour or less, because especially for those who are on live. Anyway, we want to look at transcending the mind, because we are surrounded by chaos. That's life. And that duality, when we can remember to rise above the duality that exists, we will see when we come to it, if we're playing one side or the other, one hand or the other, then there's this fighting that throws up a red flag right there. And the nature of the universe is duality, but the trick is to rise above that. And I don't know that we can rise above it picking one side or the other, even if it's just a battle in our own mind for our own thoughts. And that is the key, right? That's where we gain true freedom. It's freedom from our thoughts, freedom from our mind, from the mind. And I say that because life is life. We pay taxes, we have neighbors, we have friends, we have groups we're in, we have coworkers, we have relationships, whether it's with a spouse, with our children, with our grandchildren, with friends, with coworkers, etc. The game is inside. And so we have to remember it's the mind that we must be free from, because that little wheel just goes round and round and round if we don't try to slow it down sometimes. And transcending the mind really means about, instead of weighing one side or the other, it means getting in the middle and rising above it all. That's not always easy. We are human. There's a lot of mind chatter. But one of the best ways to go about that, one way, is to really stop and ask ourselves, if I'm quiet for a moment, What do I see? Chaos. Okay. The question then becomes, do I have to participate in the chaos? And that's a key to transcending the mind and therefore all of the duality. Because when we can recognize that, then we can hopefully rise above the chaos all around us. And we're spiritual beings having a human experience. We're here. There's going to be chaos. The key to that, I believe, and I think this was an anonymous quote. If I knew who said it, I would absolutely credit them because it's beautiful. And I probably don't have it exactly right. But out of the chaos comes, we're having an experience, comes learning. And hopefully from that, we experience some knowledge or gain some knowledge and therefore wisdom. Out of that wisdom, we find peace. Because when we are wise, we transcend the fighting. We transcend the duality. We transcend the opposite sides. Oh, this, no, that. We transcend the mind and find peace. From that state of peace, we can better see with a much greater perspective from the higher self, from that divine spirit, the truths. And when I say truths, I mean truth with a capital T, because that is what will sink into our heart. From that space, we can live from the heart. We can receive the information from higher self, from divine guidance that will lead us in a way that gets us through life, rising above the mind and experiencing more peace and greater possibilities. That's where we have the magic in life, and we can tap into the possibilities, the all that is, whether we call it God, whether we call it universe. I don't think God cares if we call it blade of grass. Those are all labels. And a big key is to transcend the labels as well, because they're just labels. It's all what we feel. It's not what we think. Think it's get us in trouble more often than not. So we're going to go into the session with that in mind. I'm going to pause for 1 second here just to be able to turn my heater off, because I'm realizing I think that might be causing a little background noise. Give me 1 second. Okay, thank you. I apologize for that. So going into today's session, keeping all of that in mind, transcending the mind, I'm going to have that as the main focus for today's session. I think it's a good time of year for that as well, because as we go into holidays, a lot of people have a lot of chaos about traveling and spending time with family. That can be fun. It can be exciting. It can be nerve-wracking. And it's a good time of year, I believe, to be able to have a session around transcending the mind. And that's in order for us to find greater peace. So I invite you all to take a sip of water if you've got a glass of water with you. If you're watching the recording and you don't have a glass of water with you, please take a moment to pause and grab a glass of water. I believe that staying hydrated helps our cells be able to store this information and do a greater job that affects more permanent change. So I'm going to take a sip of water as well. And we can begin by taking a couple of deep breaths in and out. That'll help us begin to relax and tune in to that more calm place. where we're able to gain greater perspective and information can come in more clearly from our higher self. Remember that our higher self is the kind of like the direct antenna to that divine information from God, from the universe, from Creator, from Spirit. Okay. As we begin to relax, I'm seeing the heart and the heart mind come in. And that's interesting. So a lot of times we'll look at the three brains, with the head brain, the heart brain, and the gut brain. But this time I'm literally hearing it come in as the heart mind instead of the heart brain. And it's to help clear some of the chatter, the confusion, the expectations that we often have this time of year, especially if we're traveling to visit family and friends. Not sure, boy, I haven't seen them in a lot of years or a lot of months, what to expect. We want to make sure everything goes well when we see our family and friends. They might be coming to visit, and we're kind of cleaning house and cooking and preparing, planning, traveling. It's very exciting and a little bit nerve-wracking at the same time because, oh, we want to make sure everything's right. We don't want to forget packing our toothbrush or something like that. So we're connecting into the heart and the heart mind. And we're going to bring these two together because when we're able to do that and connect the two, then we tap more into the heart brain. And if you're unfamiliar with that, the Heart Math Institute puts out a lot of incredible work on that. They've done a lot of great research in that field. Tuning into the quiet, tuning into the love, and remembering the heart brain, the heart mind is what the heart is kind of in the center, right? So it's the harmonizer. It's the balancer. It brings everything together, kind of like when we're coming together with friends and family this time of year. And we're going to tap into that, remembering that we can expand our heart energy out. So we're going to take a moment to do that right now. Imagine you're sitting inside your heart. It's pretty comfy in there. It's cozy, it's warm. It's a loving embrace. And from that space, we can see the spark of light, the spark of love that is there. And we can expand that out, make it a little bit bigger, and share that with others as we go about our day, our travels, our visits, our holiday meals, or just walking out the door and greeting the neighbors, or the clerk when we're checking out making groceries. You know, yesterday I went to pay my property taxes, and as I got out of my car and went to feed the meter downtown, a man approached me, and a gentleman. He was almost my father's age. So he was mid-80s. My daddy's almost 90. And he asked me, do you know what building I need to go to pay my property taxes? And I don't know why this man was put in my life yesterday, but he made my day. It brought me, I said, if you'll give me a moment to feed the meter, I'll walk with you and we can go together because that's where I'm going as well. And we had conversation while we were walking to the building, paying our taxes. Who thought paying property taxes could be so much fun, right? And it was just amazing because he was he was just so happy to share a walk and a conversation with someone. And I was too. Somehow I felt like we brightened each other's day. And I think that's what we do when we live from our hearts. It's easy to get up in the head very quickly and not recognize it. But if we try to become aware of it more and more, we can catch it and bring ourselves back to our heart. Just pretend you're sitting inside your heart, enveloped in that beautiful, loving, warm hug that is your heart. And from there, greet the stranger, greet your neighbor, greet your children or those you share your lives with. And another wonderful way of being, another wonderful way of sharing that energy is to close your eyes for just a few minutes. And from where you're sitting, send that love out to the other people in your office building or the other neighbors you have. And expand that out as far as you can go. Give the earth and all its inhabitants a big hug from that heart space. Mainly, give yourself a warm hug from that space. It's a beautiful and sacred place to be. And at this time of year, whatever you believe, whatever you celebrate, whatever you practice, it's a good time of year to give yourself that big love hug from the heart. From there, we're going to link into the gut brain. That's in the microbiome. It's where, a lot of people would consider it the seat of the soul. When science looks at it, that's what they're finding. Believe it or not, there are some scientists who actually have proven that exists. I think that's exciting. I think we're living in exciting times when we can discover those truths that some of us have always known, that many traditions, many peoples have always known. And we find evidence of that in our everyday lives. Whether or not we have others that we get to see every day, even our pets, or just going within, or, the other morning, I was 1 or 2 mornings ago, I got up and I slept in a little bit. I think I slept till like 6:30 or something. And I got up, it was around 7 o'clock. I went to make my coffee and I looked outside as I was making my coffee outside the kitchen window. And there was a bunny rabbit just staring right at me. It was so sweet. It was so beautiful. And I thought, thank you. Thank you for showing up. And I didn't know what the message was. So I kind of tuned in and I thought, well, what do rabbits represent? And my first thought was abundance and wealth. And I decided to look it up later on and recognized it also meant be ready to, I'm going to try to remember this, be ready to change course quickly. And of course, I decided to go out in the garden to see if anything was left to give this little bunny. And I found 2 cherry tomatoes and 2 carrots. And I thought, well, that's interesting. I had no lettuce or anything like that growing. I really haven't tended my garden recently. And so the bunny let me walk right past it. I came back and we shared a sweet moment together. And then I decided to go a bit closer and brave it. The bunny allowed me to do that. I felt very honored because these are wild animals. And I got closer, and then I got to a point to offer the carrot I thought maybe kind of toss it to him, but I didn't want to frighten him. And he decided, okay, that's enough, lady. He turned tail and ran, right? And that's kind of the message that when I looked it up, it was what rabbit tells us. So I'm sharing that with you in case it resonates with any of you, hoping that it helps. But to go back to the gut brain, there's more knowledge and wisdom there than we recognize, because it's the seat of the soul, because it's where the gut microbiome is. All the beneficial and not bacteria and everything else exists. And it has to find harmony to be able to help the body operate, to digest, and digestion isn't just in the stomach or in the digestive system physiologically, yes. But then when we look at the subtle meaning of digestion, we look at how are we digesting life or a thought, or even if it's a decision-making process. So we look at that, and it gets into very earth energy if we look at the 5 elements from Chinese medicine. So, excuse me, that brings us to going back to those existential questions. Why am I here? Do I even exist? What is my purpose? Do I have a purpose? We get into the duality, and that's where we go back to transcending the mind so that we can find those answers. Since I'm talking, I'm going to guess that, I could pinch myself and say, yep, I'm here. So one place to begin that I've found very helpful from my own, sorting through these things is, obviously, if I can do this, I am here now. Just sitting with that phrase for a moment can bring us into a more grounded state, more present. When we are present with ourselves, then it is easier to transcend the mind. From that space, we're better able to be more present with others. From that space, we can share the love from our heart center. Have more heartwarming conversations. Have more meaningful conversations within ourselves, with others, with the world, with God, or our creator, our higher self. From there, we find peace, so that no matter if there are, to go back to the beginning, if there are 2 forces fighting over control and both will enslave us, does that really leave us a choice? Not the choice I'd like to make. But why do we have to limit it to just the 2? What if we can transcend the mind? And then we can laugh at it, because when we're seeing it from higher perspectives, we can recognize they're each trying to tell us, hey, this choice, that choice, you have to choose between one. But you can laugh and recognize, I choose neither. I choose peace. When we transcend the mind, we get into a state of peace like no other. And from there, we create our own realities. We can enjoy life and let all that, we might see the chaos still, but that's part of being able to, the catchphrases these days is shift from 3D reality to 5D reality, or 4D, depending on if you're looking at it from the standpoint of the law of one, the raw teachings, or other teachings that some use 4D, some use 5D. The idea is shifting our consciousness, raising our consciousness. When we raise our awareness or our consciousness, then we are better able to be co-creators with the creator and create our own reality. And it doesn't have to be one or the other. We get to choose. We decide. There's magic in that, because from there you can go anywhere you choose. And then even if you decide, I've experienced that for a while, I think I'm done with that. I'd like to try something else. That's okay too. That's the fun. Life should be fun. It's short. If life is hard or scary or not fun, then we're doing something wrong. It should be fun. It should be easy. It should have flow. If it doesn't, we need to stop and recognize, whoa, wait a second. Back up and try a different route where we do experience flow. When we're living from our heart center, that is where we experience more flow, more love, more joy, more peace, more freedom of mind. Years ago, I was doing some inner work. I was on the Avatar course, and I had these existential questions. And then, we're thinking about all the problems in life. Or right now, it's tax season, for property taxes, end of the year, at least in the States. And I realized at that point, even if I got thrown in prison and thrown in the dungeon and cuffed and just had to sit on the cement floor, I was still free, because the I am transcends the mind, lives from the heart, and experiences true freedom. We can use our minds to carry us anywhere. Try it. Close your eyes for a moment. Picture the warm sunshine on your face, your shoulders, washing over you. Maybe you're sitting in the forest and the lights dappling through the trees. Maybe you're sitting by the lake or the ocean, or on the top of a mountain, or just in your backyard. And you feel the sunshine on you. You feel that warming you, don't you? You feel relaxed and calm, like life is good. So there, and you may open your eyes if you wish, or just bask in it. It feels nice to stay there for a while. But that's proof that the mind is very powerful. And we can create a better reality by transcending the mind with the mind chatter and the worry and the what ifs and the battles that go on, right? But it doesn't have to be left or right. It is an inside job. I'm going to leave you with that. Live from the heart, transcend the mind. We're just going to tap this in really quickly. May you all experience beauty and blessings, whatever you celebrate, wherever you celebrate, even if you're not celebrating. But may you all experience peace during this season. Have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, whatever it is you're doing, being, just be. Try to slow down the doing so that you can have a more relaxed holiday season or end of year season, as we kind of go over that in our minds. And then we can start the new year as a new you, with a higher mind, a higher awareness, raising consciousness so that you can create a better reality for yourself. That is living in service to others as well. Because when we are doing that for ourselves, it has a ripple effect out into the rest of the world. And that blesses all of humanity. thank you. Happy holidays. Warmest wishes. And if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, and I know I have a lot of people in the Southern Hemisphere as well, hopefully it's cool enough that you can enjoy this time of year as well. So thank you for showing up. Thank you for doing the work from the inside that does help all of humanity. And from my heart to yours, I give you a warm holiday hug and best wishes. I hope you have, if you're traveling, wonderful trip, wonderful holidays, and a wonderful time. Be blessed. Find the quiet of mind to transcend the mind and live from the heart. I love you all. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful rest of the month. We'll meet again second Tuesday of January, which will be the 9th. Again, it'll be at noon, same time, Central Time in the US. And I will see you then. Take care. I love you all. Bye-bye.